have the resources to attract the right caliber of people to their fold, you would have the right caliber of people also at the helm of affairs, governing to help us tackle the quagmires of poverty and underdevelopment that we face as a nation. The point is this: if political parties are not well funded, they are not able to attract the right caliber of people to their fold. I mean, people should be able to get down with their PhDs and say that they are going to look for employment, in party offices. But what is the caliber of people who go to party offices to look for employment? Oftentimes, people get down with school, and then what they want to do is that, well, they want to go and look for a job elsewhere. But if you go to other advanced democracies, where political parties are well resourced, they are able to attract fresh graduates to their fold. And they have the resources to also help their candidates to campaign. So in that case, you have the right caliber of people, very well groomed, and they eventually become people, they may become people who may want to lead the political parties. And when you have such caliber of people leading political parties, then you know that you have the right caliber of people. And so, well-funded political parties would attract the right caliber of people to the fold of political parties. Now, the right caliber of people to the fold of political parties who have a firm appreciation of our challenges are also able to fashion out proper developmental programs. They have a better understanding of our challenges, so they are able to prescribe and oversee the implementation of great projects that will help us get us out of our economic doldrums and then the challenges we face as a people. And so, for me, one of the key solutions to campaign financing is for us to all push for an arrangement that would bring about public funding of political parties. And it is not now that we are going to evolve the idea. I remember that the idea of public funding of political parties was first mooted by Dr. Obed Asamoah way back in 1996. It was discussed, and then I'm sure, many politicians feel that public funding of political parties is a dangerous weapon that a ruling party can give to the opposition. And so if you don't ensure that political parties financially suffocate, then they may come to get power. And so when people are in power, they discard the idea of public funding of political parties. But when they get into opposition, they begin to appreciate the ideals and the relevance of public funding of political parties as partly a solution to the problem of campaign funding. But we cannot allow such an important national issue like this to be dictated by political parties in opposition or political parties in government. We cannot allow that. As a nation, we must think through this and take a firm position. And I'm telling you that way back in 2006, when I was a coordinator of the IE Ghana Political Parties Program, we were able to bring together the leadership of the political parties then that had representation in parliament to brainstorm this idea of public funding of political parties, partly as a solution to problems of campaign funding. And there was a consensus among the top political elites that, look, it is important that we do this as a nation. This consensus culminated in the drafting of this bill. Look at it. Public Funding of Political Parties Bill, 2008. It was drafted. And if you read it, it tells you so many things that we can do to promote public funding of political parties and then to also solve the problem of campaign funding. I've heard so many people talk about the fact that where there is public funding of political parties, it will lead unnecessarily to the proliferation of mushroom election machine or mushroom political parties. But if you look at the requirement that is set in this draft bill, it makes it very difficult for political parties that are not worth their salt to thrive, because there are so many requirements that you have to fulfill in order to benefit from this kind of funding from the states. And so it is never going to, I tell you, even the NDC and MPP would have to up their game to be able to attract this kind of funding if this bill is supposed to is to be implemented. It's a bill that has benefited from extensive inputs from political parties and their top leaders. If you look at those who signed it at the time, you had around the time you had Mr. Peter McMahon, who was the chairman of the MPP, who was the general secretary then, Isaac Isiama, who was the policy analyst. If you come to NDC, the chairman then was Kwabena AJ, the general secretary was Asiedun Ketia, the policy analyst then was SP Adamu. If you go to CPP, it was Edmond Dele, Ninoy Douna, Michael Nunu, who signed. Conventions People's Party, we have Alhaji Ahmed Ramadan, Gabriel Pwaman, Haruna Sumani as policy analysts. These were the then four main political parties that had representation in parliament that met to discuss and to agree that we need some form of public funding for political parties in a very codified document that will prescribe what political parties will have to do in order to enable them to attract funds. You see, this kind of idea is also good for our democracy because it also sets the ceiling beyond which no one can spend in electioneering campaign. I've been to other jurisdictions. I went to University of Cape Town to observe elections, just student elections, and the leading candidate then was disqualified. And why? Because he had expended monies beyond the ceiling that had been set. Okay, in Ghana, because we don't have any blueprint, people can spend and spend and spend and spend. They spend what they have, they spend what they don't have, and they spend other people's money. After they've won elections, they